Hello kids, a very good morning to you all. Welcome back to your science class. आज हम एक न्यू चैप्टर पढ़ेंगे. That is chapter 3, soil erosion and conservation. If you have missed anything in my Zoom class, then don't worry. My video is always there with you to help you and make you learn easily. Okay? So, children, as we studied earlier, if you remember in chapter 2, we learned that below the earth's crust, below the earth, it is mostly rocks. Okay, it is mostly covered with rocks if we go deep inside the earth. Where is the upper layer of the earth? Okay, जो ऊपर का हिस्सा है अर्थ का, it is mostly soil. But what is soil made up of? Okay, let me ask you, did you remember what is rocks made up of? Yes, we learned, and it is already there in the question answer, that rocks are made up of small grains. Those are called minerals. Soil is made up of small particles or small pieces, tiny rocks or tiny broken down pieces. Okay, rocks which are broken down, and then small plants, animals, dead plants and animals, and mud, water, so many sediments. All these comprises to make soil. And you also know that soil is very essential for the plants to grow, and there are also some small living organisms who live inside the soil. But do we know that how soil is formed? Let's see how the soil is formed. So, my dear children, today we will learn about how soil is formed or formation of soil. Children, as you know, you all have seen a soil. You all have played with soil. But how soil is formed, how they have existed, how they come to earth. Children, rocks undergo a process of expansion and contraction in which they expand and they become tight and heavy during the day, and they contract during the night. They become very weak during the night due to the constant rise and fall in the temperature. Suddenly, if there is a rise and fall in the temperature, like too much hot then too much cold, then this causes the rocks to become expand and contract. This affects the rocks. But not all parts of the rock they undergo expansion and contraction, but whereas slowly the rocks start to have some cracks. Slowly and slowly some cracks appear on the rocks, okay, because of this rise and fall in the temperature. Then gradually and slowly these cracks cause the rocks to break down into smaller pieces, and with time these smaller pieces convert into tiny particles, and then they form into soil. Children, one interesting thing I will tell you, that water plays an important role in formation of soil. as there will be heavy rain, then the rainwater, it gets collected in the cracks of the rocks, and sometimes it also freezes, which helps in widening the cracks. The cracks becomes more widened. Okay, and not only the rainwater, even the rocks which are already there in the river, so the flowing river water also helps in damaging the rocks. It also helps in making the rocks having some cracks, to create some cracks in the rocks over time, and also it results in the formation of soil. Along with that, strong winds, when they blow heavily, then they also rub against the rocks. Then the rocks just rub to each other. They get knocked with each other, and that also help in breaking the rocks, in cracking the rocks. Okay, when the two rocks they get rubbed to each other slowly and gradually, they create cracks in themselves in the rocks. Another one is a very cute and different thing, that some living organisms, like some living plants, non-green plants or some plants, they grow on the rock surfaces, and they just leave certain substances. They release certain substances that also cause crack on the surface of the rock, and in that way also the rocks become damaged, and in that way also the rocks become broken down into small pieces. Okay, the small green substances which you called in Odia, that is siuri. Okay, that green substance that is called lichens. Okay, those are green living organisms. They also grow on the rocks, and from that also the rocks become damaged, and from that the rocks create cracks in themselves, and the rocks became broken down into small pieces, and in that way they form into soil. Understood, children? So there are so many different ways from which the soil is formed, that is wind, rainwater, okay, flowing river water, then so many things from which the rocks are broken down, then gradually the cracks are being created with this rise and fall in the temperature. Also the cracks are created in the rocks, and slowly these rocks, when the cracks become widened, and slowly they become into tiny sediments, then from tiny sediments to small particles, and then they become soil. So what is this process called? This process is called weathering. Okay? Weathering is the breaking down of rocks into small pieces to form soil, is known as weathering. It can be caused by plants, by animals, as I told you, by rainwater, flowing water, river water, wind, and constant weather changes. From all these, the weathering happens and the soil is formed. So today you learned a new topic, that is what is weathering, okay, and how soil is formed. You learned so many different ways from which makes up the soil. There are so many ways from which rocks can be broken down into tiny pebbles, into tiny sediments, and then finally they just form into soil. Okay, from wind, water, from small living organisms, from animals, from plants, from rainwater, then constant rise and fall in the temperature, weather changes. So all this just helps in the formation of soil. And not only that, soil is also important for us. The very important thing is that plant use the nutrients in the soil to grow and make their food. Okay, what are nutrients? Did you remember? Yes, in chapter 1 we studied. So as you all know that plants need soil to grow. So and they also make their food. They need water, air, sunlight, everything they need. Also soil they need, proper soil they need. Okay? Not only that, even if no plants will be there, then animals will be die, because animals directly or indirectly they depend on plants. So therefore soil is also very important for us. and it is the home of some animals, of some living organisms like earthworms, then insects, rabbits. They all live in the soil. They make burrows, they make holes, and those are their homes. So not only this, soil is also important in building homes. Okay, we make soil in many earthen pots are made from soil, and some there are different types of soils are also. So soil is equally important as rocks. Okay, so today up to this much only I have taught you. I hope you liked my video. So just enjoy the video and read the book up to how much I have taught. ठीक है, उतना ही पढ़ो. उसके बाद you can close your book and just answer my all the worksheet whatever I have given to you. Trust me, everything is very easy. Okay children, thank you children.